The stale air of the Atlas Media Group conference room clung to Claire, a stark contrast to the growing anxiety tightening in her chest. Her notepad, usually her shield, lay open, ignored. Michael Carter, the CEO, sat in that polished stillness of his, reviewing her proposal. His silence felt like a heavy cloak draped over the whole room, but Claire's thoughts were far away, haunted by an oceanfront wedding invitation and the ghost of Ethan's voice. He'd called her comfortables, not ambitious. Now he was marrying Julia, her former roommate, and Claire felt that old, familiar sting, like she was the punchline again. The RSVP card still sat at home, a quiet battlefield of pride and pain. Then the words slipped out, unbidden, raw. Would you be my date to a wedding? The room went impossibly still. Michael's gaze lifted, slow, unreadable. His brows barely rose. To a wedding, he repeated, voice flat. Careful. Heat flooded Claire's face. Forget I said that. It was stupid. He set the papers down, tilted his head. Tell me the time and the dress code. Claire stared, breath caught somewhere between disbelief and panic. You're not serious. I am, he said. His tone dared her to doubt him. Unless you're not. She swallowed hard. End of next week. Evening. Formal. Done. Claire stood frozen. The man who lived in whispers and calculated moves had just said yes. As she gathered her things, Michael stayed seated, watching her with that quiet intensity that always unnerved her. At the door she turned. Why did you say yes? He held her gaze longer than necessary. His voice softened, just barely, because I know what it's like to face the past alone. A strange stillness settled in his eyes, a silent recognition that reached straight into her own carefully built walls. He saw it. The pretense, the clenched hands, the practiced indifference, and in that single heartbeat, Claire didn't yet know that Michael carried his own quiet wound, buried deep beneath years of achievements, and that it ached in exactly the same place hers did. The sea breeze wrapped around her, warm, salted, alive. Claire stepped from the car, emerald green dress whispering against her legs. The resort hummed with champagne laughter. But the moment Michael appeared behind her, tailored navy cutting through the soft golden light, a sudden hush rippled outward. Guests' eyes widened. Quick glances, nudges. Is that Claire? With him, Michael's hand settled lightly on the small of her back. Grounding, steady. You all right? Claire nodded, throat too tight to speak. It wasn't the breeze stealing her breath anymore. Inside the ballroom, familiar faces everywhere. Claire Bennett. Melanie's voice sliced through, artificially sweet, comfortable. As always, never thought you'd show up with the CEO. Claire managed a polite smile, but Michael turned, his voice calm, yet sharp enough to cut glass. Anyone who questions her worth doesn't know her at all. Melanie's smile cracked. The air thickened. For years, Claire had swallowed every whisper. This quiet, public defense felt like medicine she hadn't known she was starving for. The ceremony unfolded on the flower-lined terrace. Claire felt Ethan's gaze flicker toward her, then Julia's, radiant in white lace, noticing too. By the time the vows were spoken, Claire's hands were clenched so tight, her nails bit into her palms. Every smile, every nod, a performance. Later, on the rooftop terrace, moonlight danced on the pool. Music drifted up from below. Distant, soft, Michael appeared, 2 mugs in hand. Ginger tea, she asked, taking the warmth. It looked calming, he said simply. Silence stretched between them. Intimate. Heavy. I didn't come here to prove anything, Claire finally whispered. But it's strange. How quickly people remind you who they think you are. He turned to her, listening, really listening. My ex used to tell me I had no ambition, she continued. Said I lacked vision. That I was fine with small things. Like that was a flaw. Some people think ambition has to shout, Michael said, his gaze steady, anchoring. I don't. Some fires burn quietly, still just as powerful. Claire looked up. Raw honesty lived in his eyes, gently. He slipped off his jacket, draped it over her shoulders. The weight was warm, protective, unexpected. Thank you, she breathed. For what? For not making this feel like a performance. His faint smile felt like something rare, something precious. I didn't agree to this because I wanted to help you impress anyone, he said. I said yes because I saw something in your eyes that looked familiar. Claire blinked. What do you mean? I think we both know what it is like, he murmured, turning back toward the dark ocean. To pretend we're fine, long enough that we almost believe it. Claire watched him, a slow nod. The waves rolled below. Steady rhythm, wrapped in his borrowed warmth. Something tender and unexpected bloomed in the quiet night. The golden light of the setting sun spilled across the white chairs, the ocean glittering behind the flower-covered arch. Claire sat beside Michael, fingers laced so tightly they ached. It wasn't the wind stealing her breath. It was the groom's lingering glances, the bride's darting eyes toward Michael, the curiosity, the quiet judgment. It settled over the crowd like another veil. This was probably a bad idea, she whispered, leaning just slightly toward him. He barely moved. You're not the one who should be nervous. The vows blurred past. Then the MC, some giddy bridesmaid, chirped brightly. Who wants to come up and say a few words? Claire, you were college roommates with the bride, right? Come on. Nudges pushed her forward. Her stomach plummeted. Her steps faltered, heart hammering. But before she reached the microphone, Michael stood. His presence filled the space. The room stilled. He walked to the front, gaze fixed only on Claire. If I were to make a vow today, his voice carried, clear, strong, it would be this. Never walk past someone like Claire, and never let her walk away again. A long, full pause. Claire's breath caught, stunned. Michael gave a small, respectful nod to the silent crowd, to the bride and groom. I hope your love always brings you home to yourselves. But for me today, I was reminded that some people enter your life not to stay in the background, but to remind you what real looks like. He returned to her, offered his hand. She took it. The crowd's silence followed them back to their seats. Not a single mocking whisper in its wake. Later, as the sun dipped lower, Claire stood at the edge of the terrace. Michael approached, silent, steady. You never had to do that, she said softly. I know, he replied. That's why I did. He crouched, fingers gentle at the hem of her dress. The stitch came loose, he murmured, carefully adjusting the fabric. There, you shouldn't have to carry everyone's gaze with your dress falling apart. She stared down at him, and something inside her shifted, not just in her, in the fragile space between them. I see you, he said quietly, straightening. Not just today. Her throat tightened. You make it very hard to keep pretending. Then maybe, he answered, eyes meeting hers. It's time we stop. The reception had softened. Slow music, warm lights washing the ballroom. Claire slipped away, craving the cool night air of the beach. She kicked off her heels, sand cool beneath her feet. Grounding, the moon hung low, laying a silver path across the waves. Michael followed. Jacket off, sleeves rolled, a silhouette both foreign and completely present. You always walk barefoot at weddings, he asked. A faint smile in his voice. Only the ones where I almost have a panic attack, she answered dryly. His smile deepened. They walked in easy silence. He stooped, picked up a small smooth seashell. For you, I didn't take you for the seashell gifting type. He looked out at the water. Some memories are meant to be buried, he said quietly. Some kept in your pocket. The gesture felt unexpectedly tender. Do you do this often? She asked. Walk women down the beach, after pretending to be their date. He turned to her, really looked. No, he said simply. Just you. I still don't get it, she whispered, staring at the shell. Why would someone like you say yes to someone like me? He stopped, faced her fully, guard down, teasing gone. Because, he said gently, you're the only one who doesn't need me to prove anything. Claire's breath hitched. He stepped closer, not touching her. Everyone else sees the title, the money, the version of me I wear like armor. But you didn't ask for anything. You never tried to impress me. You never tried to belong. I don't belong, she said, the words slipping out. He shook his head. You belong more than anyone I know. And maybe that's why you scare me. I scare you. He nodded. Because when I'm around you, I don't feel like a CEO. I feel like myself. And that's the scariest thing in the world. The wind rose without a word. Michael shrugged off his shirt, laid it gently over her shoulders. She held it close, breathing him in. Clean, warm, unfamiliar, comforting. They stood there, surf whispering, moon shining. No promises, no roles, just two people who had finally stopped pretending. Claire clutched the seashell, its ridges pressing into her palm. Some memories were worth keeping, and some, she realized, were still being made.